In front of you is a wide open vista that stretches out for miles. It's filled with riches of every description, and you're certain that it's calling your name. You take a tentative step forward, trying to find the courage to commit to a life of ease and abundance. But before you realize it, you've turned your back on that state of well being, and you're busily trying to cram yourself through the keyhole in the door bearing a big red no exit sign. Are you crazy? Well, of course you're not crazy, but you may have lost your way. You may have become confused and have found yourself believing lies and half truths that are making it difficult for you to believe that abundance can be yours. You may even be settling for just enough when more than enough awaits. Welcome, everyone. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, here with you on Angel Heart Radio. And if you're ready for more than enough, I want you to stay with me as we discover if you're standing in your own way, and if so, what you can do about it.
Angel Heart Radio programs are powerful tools for transformation, positivity, joy, and hope. They should not be used to replace your legal or medical advice. Welcome to Angel Heart Radio, where we celebrate you. We celebrate your divine connection. We celebrate your magnificence. We celebrate you as a beautiful being here on planet Earth, sharing your love and your light. We are so blessed to have amazing hosts here on Angel Heart Radio. We fan your seeds of hope and we help you to plant more. AngelHeartRadio.com is our station, and AngelLight777.com is our big sister. All the links, the series, host information, how to visit us, and really how to receive the best from Angel Heart Radio, and a whole lot more besides. Thank you for choosing to be with us on Angel Heart Radio. We're so grateful to share with you. Powered by love, Angel Heart Radio is brought to you by AngelLight777.com.
So here we are today, wanting to answer the question, am I standing in my own way? Well, let's take a look at what might happen in your life when you come up against a roadblock. We always have several options. Now, let's be really, really honest and understand that there is absolutely nothing that we are going to encounter that won't have an option possible. You may not like the options that you see or the solutions that you see, but there is always something that we can do. So right immediately, let's get away from the powerless position that says, oh my gosh, I'm helpless, there's nothing I can do, and enter into the place of, it may require me really digging down into my heart center. But if I look hard enough, I will be able to find something that I can do about this situation that I'm facing. So right there, you've changed from hopeless to possible. Remember to always look at every situation from the possible instead of the impossible viewpoint. So you've come up against a roadblock. What can you do? Well, you can turn away. And I have worked with many, many people over the years who will immediately, as soon as that roadblock comes up, they want to say, you know, the universe doesn't want me to have this. Well, that may be true. We're not going to discount that that's a possibility. This may not be for your highest good, but I want you to keep your options open So instead of immediately turning away and assuming that the universe doesn't want you to have something, when an obstacle comes up, I want you to dive deeper. And we'll look at that in just a minute. Because we have another option to look at. We actually have three. So you're confronted with a roadblock. First option so far, turn away. Universe doesn't want me to have it. Second, push as hard as you can. Fight for that desire, no matter what. Don't give up. Well, on the surface, that could be a wonderful look at tenacity. You're not giving up. You're refusing to take no for an answer. This is something you really desire. But be careful that you're not stepping into stubbornness instead of flow. So, there are times when it will be necessary for you to really focus on this thing that you desire and to push through. There are other times when you're just being stubborn. And now we have a third option: surrender. First of all, understand that when we are agreeing to surrendering to the highest good, to divine intervention, we are not giving up in defeat. I know that surrender, if we're looking at it in terms of not winning the battle but giving up before your entire army is killed, is a way of looking at something and saying, well, we are defeated. We're surrendering. We're giving up. So we need to look at surrender from the spiritual viewpoint, which is not giving up. Instead, it's understanding that you're incapable of seeing the bigger picture and that you are choosing to bow to intelligence that is greater than yours. So in no way, shape, or form should you believe that you are giving up. If anything, when you are committing to spiritual surrender, you are just beginning to step into the understanding of what this obstacle is all about. Surrender never means failure when you're on the spiritual path. It doesn't even mean giving up, but it does mean letting go of the outcome. So when we surrender, we are admitting that we may not have all the answers, but we are also agreeing to stay on the path or stay in the direction that our guidance tells us to go. So we're not turning away and just giving up, being defeated. Oh, well, the universe doesn't want me to have it. We may have to adjust the direction that we're going. So let's say I was walking in a straight line and I come up against an insurmountable obstacle. It is a mountain with such a sheer face that I couldn't climb it in this lifetime. Well, that appears that the universe just doesn't want me to have it. But if I were to go into surrender, I may hear the universe tell me, you have veered off to the left. If you would move more to the right, you would see that the path becomes open and free, and the prize that you're desiring will be waiting for you if you move to the right. So we're not going to assume the universe doesn't want us to have it and give up altogether. And we're not going to push so hard that we exhaust ourselves trying to push against the obstacle. Instead, we're going to begin living lives of surrender, which are lives of flow instead of resistance. So when you get the high sign, hey, you cannot get there from there, you're going to take that sign and be grateful for it instead of angry. instead of, oh, the universe, poor me, the universe doesn't want me to have this. Oh, wah, wah, wah. Or, I'm just going to push through because clearly this is an obstacle and it's in my path so I can learn how to overcome it. Let's learn to be wise, to be spiritually mature, to be brilliant beings on the path, and ask for guidance. Universe, is this something that is not for my highest good? Universe, should I be moving in another direction in order to receive that which I desire? Universe, are you guiding me towards something that's even better? We must understand that the angels will not take from us something that is for our highest good, and they will not take something from us unless they have something better to offer. Now, I want to give you an example of that. So we have to remember that when something appears to be taken away, that we feel that we want more than anything, it's time for us to stop pounding on that door or trying to squeeze ourselves through the keyhole. Step back. Take a deep breath. Connect with the divine and ask for guidance. Because when you stop pushing, demanding, insisting, you're able to step out of fear into neutral, back into calm, and into a place of balance. So my daughter wanted to buy her very first car. Now, we all remember what that was like. This is a huge deal, a huge undertaking. So she begins looking at cars. And she thinks she has fallen in love with absolutely every car she sees. And she has decided that she wants to buy this particular car in this particular color with this amount of miles on it. And every car gets sold before she is able to get to the dealership. Or the dealership is so far away that it's impossible for her to get there in the amount of time that she had to arrive. And she's getting more and more frustrated. And she's pushing and she's pushing and she's getting more and more demanding and she's just not understanding. And she's beginning to adopt the mindset, the universe just doesn't want me to have a car. Well, she gets a minute to step away from it. She has something else that needs to be done, and she can't even focus on the car. So she takes a step away from it. And then she comes home, and there are so many more car dealers here where I live in Los Angeles, which is a bigger city, than where she goes to school. And so she has a much greater pool to search from. Now, she's got her price, she's got her mileage, she knows exactly what car she wants to buy. Except the angels have something better in mind. So she's busy searching. She's busy pushing for that car that she believed was the best that she could do with the money that she had to spend. But when you turn it over to the angels, they can deliver something even better. So yesterday, she was able to buy the car of her dreams, a much better car than she thought she could afford, for exactly the amount that she was going to be able to pay. So she didn't get the car that she wanted initially. She got a much better car with lower mileage and for the same price that she was willing to pay. They didn't let her have it immediately, and they allowed her to be frustrated during the looking process, but she ended up once she took a step back and allowed them to bring it forward with a better car, lower miles, and for the same price. And I kept telling her when car after car kept getting sold, the angels will never take something from you unless they have something better that they want to give you. Now, luckily, all of those other lower quality, higher mileage cars got sold out from under her because now she has a low mileage, better quality car for the same price. When we walk in harmony with the divine, life just simply becomes easier. It doesn't mean that challenges are eliminated. Please understand that the reason that you have chosen to participate in a life journey is so that you can learn and grow. Life challenges are the way that we learn and grow. So the challenges will never be eliminated, but it will become easier and easier to move through them. If I look back at my life, going back, I started on this path 40 years ago, and I fell into a deep, dark ditch because I just wasn't able to move myself from the place of this is exactly what I want to the place of I can accept that it's here for me now. I had to go through every twist and turn while I was being resistant to the bounty that wanted to come to me. So challenges got progressively harder. It was like climbing a mountain every single day. And then I finally got so frustrated with my life the way that it was that I began to do the deep heart work that was necessary for transformation. So that meant attending every course I could find, reading every book I could get my hands on, dedicating my life to the pursuit of the spiritual, no matter what else had to take a back seat. There was no fun and games time. It was all, I have got to get my life straightened out. Anything that I didn't have to do for survival, for my family, or for work, all that time that I would have spent off doing other mindless things was spent on spiritual study. Now, I chose to do it the hard way. You don't have to. I encourage you to begin now with all of the tools that you have access to. And I have many, many free resources on my website to help you. And just immerse yourself in the incredible love of the spiritual realm. We are so much wiser than when we were when I first began. We have so many more tools and so much more wisdom. Take advantage of all of it. Your journey will become so filled with love and joy and peace, you will not regret a moment that you might have devoted towards spiritual study. My life challenges have become so much easier and so much more meaningful because of the amount of time that I have dedicated to my spiritual journey. And a divinely guided life is filled with unlimited abundance. And that is not just the material things. Let's get away from material. Material well-being does come with a spiritually guided life, with a life that's lived in harmony with the divine. But what is so much more important than financial well-being is your soul well-being. You being back in touch with your authentic self. You seeing your value and your worth. because then from that place you are able to attract unlimited material abundance if that speaks to your heart. If it doesn't speak to your heart, you will attract the abundance that does. You are no longer limited once you partner with the divine. We have to remember that we are not giving up anything when we partner with the divine. It's a matter of adopting their wisdom as opposed to the ego's stupidity. So it is abundance versus lack, or unity versus me only. Now, the ego will tell you, oh, you have to give up your free will. Oh, you have to give up your ability to choose. Oh, you will have to be dedicated. First of all, no one and nothing can make you give up your free will. It was given to you by the divine and will not be taken away from you by them. Yes, you will have to be dedicated, but no, you will never give up your ability to choose. That's what the life journey is all about. You can't learn without having the opportunity to make good choices and bad choices. So, the ego speaks foolishness. Learn to recognize when it is the ego. The divinely inspired life and communication speaks wisdom. However, we must remember that no matter how you choose to live, free will always remain. Nothing is ever thrust upon you. You must give permission for whatever it is that is showing up in your life to come forward. Now, here's the hook. There is a little bit of a hook. When you are asleep or unaware, you can give subconscious permission for things that you may not want to come into your life. So, why in the world would a loving God do that to you? For the experience, so that you have the opportunity to get so frustrated with being or living a life that feels out of control that you will do the work to begin living a life that is in partnership with the divine and that will make you experience things that feel good. So, what do I mean by giving subconscious permission? It may mean that when you're not paying attention, you automatically revert to those belief systems that have great meaning to you, or you turn your attention to the latest trauma or the latest pain or whatever that emotionally charged situation may be. Now, if you are not paying attention, you may be going over and over, oh, you don't know what they did to me, or my life is so hard and I just can never seem to get a break. Poor me. Now, that may be true. That may be the reality that you're living. However, you cannot change what you're attracting from that place. So it's necessary for you to become aware of your thoughts. If you want to change your life, if you want to stop attracting things that feel bad, that make you feel as though you can never get a break, you're going to have to change your thoughts and the way you're feeling about your life. So that means you got to look at your life. What are you attracting? Who is showing up? if you are attracting a lot of negative people, a lot of people that do not wish you well, or a lot of situations that it just feels like you go from one disaster to the next, you have to look at where your mind goes when it's offline. Are you constantly rehearsing disaster after disaster? Are you talking about your bad luck or your tough situation? If that's your conversation, if that's what your friends talk about, if that's what you think about, then you are activating law of attraction to bring you more disaster situations or more situations that you don't want. So if you don't like what's showing up, time to do some heavy-duty house cleaning. Spring cleaning is always in style, and when it comes to your thoughts, it's absolutely necessary. So clear and heal the problem at the root, which means you will have to go in and do some heart work. You're going to have to really be clear and focused and begin examining your beliefs. And I want you to pay careful attention to those beliefs that you may have inherited. People may refer to this as karma. Let's be clear, though, this is not an attempt to punish you for a mistake you made in a previous life. If something is showing up in your life now, it is showing up so that you can clear and heal it. If you have belief systems that are poisonous, self-pitying, limiting, or self-accusatory, or even self-hating, they are poison. It is really when you hold a belief system that says you're no good, you're valueless, you deserve to be punished, or you'll never amount to anything, it is the same as drinking poison and hoping that somehow another person unrelated to you will get sick and die from the poison. It is that far removed. Somebody that you may not have never met. Let's really get real with what you are doing to yourself when you are allowing yourself to hold on to limiting beliefs or to parrot beliefs that may have been passed down through the line of your ancestry. This is not pointing fingers and saying that somebody is bad. However, if your family has held a belief that says everyone in our family line will die at age 40, that is not a self-affirming or even worthy belief that deserves to be carried forward. It may have been true. It may have been true for several lifetimes, perhaps several, let's just say it's the men in the family. Let's say several men in the family line turned 40 and had a heart attack, and that was the end of their physical journey. That was true. That did happen. But it doesn't mean that it has to be true for you. You can let go of that false belief. You know that you can now, with advances in medicine and better understanding of proper eating habits, you can completely move through your 40th year without any heart disease or heart difficulties. We can today even receive heart transplants. So there may have been an issue, even a genetic issue. But it's no longer necessary for you to support that belief system because we have made so many advancements that that which was true no longer applies to you. So we're not pointing fingers because that belief system may have been necessary when it was created. But we are becoming aware because we don't want to hold on to those beliefs that are no longer serving our highest good. So allow yourself to look at everything with an unbiased attitude. Don't don't assume that you need to hold on to it because the grandmother that you loved so much shared this with you. Instead, be the educated consumer. You can still love grandma, but you can understand that medical science, spiritual understanding, and the scientific world has really made leaps and bounds in our ability to understand and deal with things that may not have been in the realm of possibility even 20 years ago. So please stop holding yourself to limiting beliefs that no longer are realistic. When you never question or reflect on what you're doing, thinking, or saying, you may be standing in your own way. When we refuse to update or change, we are refusing to grow. That's when we're playing the game, oh, the universe just doesn't want me to have this. Well, maybe it doesn't because it's not for your highest good. Or maybe you're refusing to change and to grow. So, that's not the end of the road because when we allow ourselves to flow within everything, it means that you're honoring your life journey. So some things are not going to go your way. Just like my daughter, she was getting quite frustrated. Every time I find a car, it gets sold out from underneath me before I can even go. It gets sold. It's not fair. That was several days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Today, she's dancing on air. I'm so grateful all of those other cars were sold so that I would be forced to look at other cars. And now I've got a better quality car with lower mileage for the same price. Angel intervention and help is very real, but you must give permission and you cannot be resistant. If you refuse their help, if you stand in your own way, they're not going to run you over and knock you down in order to give you the present. They will allow you to go through the period of frustration because they recognize that is best for your growth. She's going to be much less resistant having received this huge reward than if they had just magically allowed her to find this car on day one of her search. They always have your greatest good in mind because we learn best through experience. We're a hands-on population. Success, failure, poor decisions, bad choices, they're all just really magnificent learning experiences. It's impossible to fatally damage the authentic self. So go ahead, be an enthusiastic student of your life. You, your neighbor, your family members, each being is perfect for the life journey they've chosen. It's impossible for you to have made a bad choice prior to coming into your physical body. It doesn't matter how the package is decorated, the package being the physical body. You can come able bodied or disabled. It doesn't matter. The physical package will be perfect for the journey that you have chosen to take in this lifetime. So when we label children, oh, that's a birth defect, like muscular dystrophy may be labeled a birth defect. Isn't it March of Dimes that has big campaigns to overcome these birth defects? I don't think we're being very wise when we assign that label. I believe that we should look further afield, connect with the divine, and recognize that for whatever reason, the person who chose to come into a body that is less physically able to do things chose that for a reason. And I'm going to tell you why I believe that to be true. With an example, I had a gentleman, I helped them, I was the ghostwriter for them writing their autobiography. This particular person had a very severe disability. It came on. When he was born, he appeared to be perfectly normal. By the time he was 2, his body was contracting in on itself. It was a very severe form of muscular dystrophy and very rare. Now, when I first met him, I was thinking, oh my gosh, that is so terrible. What an incredibly difficult life you must have had. But he chose a different path. He chose not to feel sorry for himself. Now, he had excellent parenting, could not have had better parenting, and he had incredible teachers and mentors. But he ended up with a political career that allowed him to be an activist in the White House for people with disabilities. He was extremely bright because, as he said, well, I didn't have a whole lot else to do except to develop my mind, since my body was quickly becoming unable to move me around. I spent quite a bit of time in my wheelchair talking with adults and studying and learning, and that became my joy. And then he put that incredible mind to use for himself and for others who have found themselves confined to a wheelchair. Talk about taking that thing which could have made other people just give up in defeat and using it as his ticket to freedom and incredible good fortune. We must recognize the divine does not punish your poor choices from this lifetime or any other lifetime. There is no cosmic police force, and you will never be beaten or subjected to any kind of hurt because you did something that you don't remember many generations or many lifetimes previously. You will experience the natural consequence of your choice. Let's assume that I make the choice to rob a bank, and then I get caught. I can expect to experience the consequence of robbing the bank. That means that I am looking at a jail sentence. That is not me living out karma from a previous lifetime. That is me experiencing the consequence of a bad choice. If I choose to hurt or harm others, I will probably receive some sort of personal hurt or harm as a way to balance out. Sure, sometimes it appears that people get away with it, but I would suggest that we look under the hood. What's really happening in their life? Probably some deep unhappiness. I've yet to meet someone who has taken advantage of others or has been unkind that feels really great about themselves. So it may appear that they have some fame or fortune, but take a closer look at their life and you may see deep unhappiness. What you will never see is the divine punishing you or anyone else for making a bad choice. So let's give another example. Robbing a bank, we know that, hey, if I get caught, looking at jail. So most of us are not going to go out and rob a bank. But here's something that may have happened. Certainly it has happened to me. I started driving down a one-way street the wrong way. Didn't see the sign. Of course, here comes a car, and they're very justifiably quite angry with me. What the heck, lady? Didn't you see that sign? Can't you see your... Oh my gosh, please forgive me. Let me turn around and pay more attention. I'm lost in a city that I didn't know, and the sign just got by me. I was able to correct the mistake. But let's say I continued driving down that street and I was oblivious to any other traffic on the road. Well, it is very likely that I am going to get into an accident. That is not karma coming up to bite me. That is me not paying attention. I need to come back into the present moment, pay attention to where I am driving, pull off to the side if I am really lost, take a minute to get my bearings, to look at a map, to get my navigation system online, or if it won't come online, just take a minute to breathe so I can pay attention to where I am on the road. Because I'm a hazard if I'm refusing to pay attention or to be present to where I am in this moment. But driving down a one-way street can be the same as going against the natural order of things. This is you trying to fit through the keyhole on a locked door when a wide open vista is stretching out behind you. When I was driving down that one-way street by mistake, I was trying to fit myself through the keyhole. As soon as I turned around, there was free flowing. No more obstacles. Sometimes you have to turn around and take a look at what you are refusing to see. When we begin flowing instead of forcing, you will get where you want to go more quickly. The divine know that when you recognize that their path of union offers you abundance, safety, and love, you'll choose the highest good. You'll abandon the ego, and you'll become free of fear. And because they know that once you recognize what they're offering you, as opposed to what you may believe they're offering you, they don't need to force you. They don't need to pound you over the head to get your attention. They are perfectly satisfied to allow you to come to them when it feels good to you. If you are being pounded over the head, look at me, look at me, look at me, it is probably the ego and a false trail of breadcrumbs. Please remember, each person has greatness within them. It's your choice to express it. But without exception, it is there. I have worked with so many people over the years, and I have yet to meet someone that has no greatness within them. I have met people who are afraid to step into their greatness, but without exception, that greatness is there, just waiting for you to recognize it. If you're not expressing it, it's because you don't believe you're great. It's you standing in the way with your disbelief. So now it is absolutely time. There is a wide open vista behind you. You must commit to allowing your life to be one of ease. I'm going to issue you a challenge. I want you to begin believing in yourself. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to provide you support for the next 90 days, but let's begin. This is a holiday here in the U.S. Actually, tomorrow is the official holiday, but school is starting. A lot of things are going on. Let's give ourselves 2 weeks to prepare. 2 weeks to get your life settled down, to get everybody back in school, to get back in a routine, and then we're going to begin a 90-day challenge where I am going to challenge you to believe in yourself. So, I'm going to be your support system for the next 90 days, beginning on September 15th is a Sunday. Let's start on Monday. Beginning on September 16th, and that's 17th for those of you in Australia. Beginning on September 16th, I will begin sending out a daily affirmation. Sometimes I'll send out video support. Sometimes it will just be a line. It kind of depends on how much time I have, because this is just me sharing my love. So I have a very busy schedule, and I've got to have make sure that I have time to honor this. So sign up for my mailing list. That's your obligation. You've got to take a step forward and commit to loving yourself. I'm going to support you in your commitment. So you got to sign up for my mailing list. And then every day you will receive either a typed affirmation or a video spoken affirmation, depending on my schedule and how much time I've had to devote to this. But I will support you with affirmations about your greatness, about your ability to get it done, about your power for the next 90 days. Got to sign up. You've got to make a commitment to yourself. If you sign up and you find you don't like it, just unsubscribe. Nothing's going to happen. You just won't get the support. But I know that when I allow myself to be supported by those around me and by the divine, wonderful, fabulous miracles come flowing into my life. So I want to support you. I want to be your miracle for the next 90 days. Here's what we're going to know as we leave this hour together. You're magnificent, whether you believe it or not. The sun shines on a cloudy day. The sun shines at night, just like you. You are magnificent, whether you believe it or not. There may be some clouds making it difficult for you to see your beauty and your magnificence. Doesn't mean you're not magnificent. It may be nighttime in your life. Doesn't mean you're not still shining. Commit to 90 days and see the fabulous things that happen in your life when you begin believing in yourself. Now, what can you do right now? Well, if you're standing in your own way, if you're refusing to see your greatness, you really are committing self-sabotage. So go to my website, marciamartinthehearthealer.com, and purchase my course, How to Stop Self-Sabotage. Wonderful tools. It's available for you to take the class immediately. And once you have that link, you can go to it over and over and over again so that you get the support, you get the review of the tools and techniques that I share during that time. Recognize that any time that you are standing in your way, it usually comes because you are afraid. You're afraid that you're not great. You're afraid that this thing you want more than anything will never find you, or you don't deserve it. It's time to let go of fear. You are magnificent and brilliant, and I want to support you in really getting a hold of that belief. If you do feel that you can't see your own light, or that you're always climbing uphill, start asking yourself these questions. What am I allowing? Perhaps you're allowing people to ask too much of you, and you just haven't built enough time in your day that is me time that will allow you to renew and restore, and you're simply exhausted. What am I blocking? Perhaps people are all around you wanting to help you, but you don't feel worthy, so you're refusing their help. What am I believing? You may have some limiting beliefs that say, you don't deserve this, or you're not worthy, or you're not good enough. Time to let go of all of those things by asking yourself, well, how does this belief make me feel? How does what I'm allowing make me feel? Well, I may be blocking these things. How do I feel about that? Get in touch with how you are responding to the things that you are thinking. Just remember, the emotions are the gas pedal. That's what's causing you to attract what you're attracting. And then get used to taking the limits off by saying to yourself, if I could have anything, which I can because I'm a divinely supported being, what would I desire? When you do your spiritual work, instead of standing in the way and looking at why not and what you can't have, I want you to begin to learn to connect with your brilliance. Make sure those dominant thoughts are the ones that will support and guide you. Take a look at what is interesting to you intellectually. What do you like to do? What feels meaningful to you? And then allow yourself to do those things. If you're working in a job that is against your belief system, let's just use a kind of an outlandish example. Let's say that you love animals, but you are working in a job that means that you must be cruel to animals. Now, you're never going to be able to find happiness no matter how much money you earn in that job, because it goes against yourself. But sometimes we are holding beliefs that are like working in a job that forces you to be cruel to animals when you love animals more than anything. So begin doing the deep work. Take a look. Find out, what is it that you're allowing, believing, saying to yourself. And if you find that you're standing in your own way, honor yourself so much that you clean house. Just to give you an example for myself, there was never a time when I did not love interacting with the angels and the fairies and the woodland folk. But there was a long period of time when I thought that I had to put that away and be a realist. It was a long, unhappy period in my life. So when coming home for me was coming back into the realization that I could have it all. I could interact with the angels and the fairies and the energetic realm, and I could still be helpful to people and find a way to live in the world, to earn a living, to be paid for doing that which I love more than anything else. Make sure you're honoring what you desire and not what society advocates. You know, society said to me, that's a fool's errand. You'll never be able to support yourself, to make a living talking to angels or talking with people about the energetic realm. That's so foolish that you would even believe that you could. You can never find your greatness by copying or limiting yourself. It's one thing to imitate others, to learn a skill, but then you need to add your own flavor. So sure, I've had many, many teachers. I've taken many classes. I've read all of the books in all of the libraries that were within driving distance of me in order to understand the spiritual realm more thoroughly. But the work that I do now isn't, isn't the same as anyone else's that I know of, because I've taken what they gave to me and I took a bit here and a bit there, just as they took a bit here and a bit there out of what was presented to them. And I created something that was much more meaningful to me, that would work for me, for my life, for my journey, and for my personality. And I have created the heart healing methodology because it's what felt best to me. So yes, I had many teachers to begin. I had people that explained to me what was possible in the spiritual realm. But then I had to add my own flavor. And speaking of flavors, let's look. When I was a child, they had Baskin & Robbins ice cream. Was kind of a new concept. Why? Because up until that time, we basically had vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. And Baskin & Robbins came out, and I believe it was 32 flavors. I can't remember anymore. But it was all the rage. I don't even particularly like ice cream, but I love to go in there because they would give you samples on little pink spoons, and you could taste so many different flavors to see which one you liked. And you always could find something that you liked. It was genius marketing. We never left there without buying ice cream. The little tiny spoon only gave us a small taste, and it kept luring us back in because there were so many more flavors that we wanted to taste. So they took a concept that was known to all of us, ice cream, and they added their own flavors. And they added, and they added, and they added until they became an ice cream sensation. So now, I want you to stop standing in the dark pretending that you don't want to see. Instead, allow the brilliance of your being to bathe you in light, because you are a brilliant being. So remember, 90-day challenge. You have to go to my website and sign up for my mailing list, MarciaMartinTheHeartHealer.com. Marcia spelled Marcia. I want to support you in being the greatest version of yourself ever. But until next week, I'm sending you all my love.
You've been listening to another fabulous program on Angel Heart Radio. Our goal is to remind you of how much you matter in the world and to let you know that we appreciate who you are in the world. You can check out who's on, when we're on, and who our guests are at angelheartradio.com. Everything is there. It's all just one click away. Angel Heart Radio programs are powerful tools to help you in your life and your life experience. They are not intended, nor should they, be used to replace your medical or legal advice. The views expressed by hosts, co-hosts, callers, guests, and associates should not be construed as advice from Angel Heart Radio.